All right, we're back in the existing application again. Now this time we're going to create brand new web pages from scratch as opposed to just replicating what we already have. Okay, so again, I'm in the existing application. First thing I'm going to do is create a new project, file, new. Okay, and it doesn't really matter what type we select. I'm going to go ahead and type the same type, which is Advanced Ladder Editor. Okay, so I have a new project. Now my next step is to go into the hardware configuration, and it's currently configured for my target because that's what I'm connected to. But in this case, under Series, I want to switch to Web Designer. Okay, and now I have my choice of 3 different resolutions: 1024 by 768, 1200 by 800, and 1920 by 1080. I'm going to go ahead and select the middle one. Okay, hit OK. All right, so I've created a new project for a web designer with a screen that's 1200 by 800. Now, before I start designing pages, it'd be really helpful if I would have all the same IO names or all the same tags from my original application and my new application. So I'm going to go back to my original application here, which was called Purge Fill. I'm going to go to the IO names section, Program IO names. I'm going to copy all of these. Go back to my new web designer project that I've yet to title. Go into the IO name sections for this project and hit paste. It's going to ask me if I'm sure I want to do that. I'll say yes. Okay, so now all my IO names that were present in my original application that's running on the controller are available for me to choose from when I go and create web pages. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and go into the graphics editor. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here or enlarge this window, and you can see that I've got a 1200 by 800 window in which to design screens. So let's just go ahead and do something quick and relatively simple. All right, let's go ahead and, well, just for grins, let's go ahead and put time data on the screen. So I can show you how you can do that. All right, now the real-time clock can be accessed in the OCS from system register number 44, starting at system register 44. Let's go with hour, minutes, seconds for my time. Let's have a nice big font here. All right, center it. Legend-wise, we don't need a legend. Let's get rid of that. Hit OK and OK. All right, now let's stretch that. All right, so we'll have a time display. Again, not real fancy, but I just want to show you how easy it is. Now let's go ahead and pick out some data from the actual application. So let's just go ahead and create a new gauge object, okay? And I'll stretch it on the screen here. All right, I'm going to double click on it. Now, this is where I can pick from one of my existing variables. So in this case, let's go ahead and select inlet pressure, inlet PSI, which is on my list here. Okay, and we know that that's from scale from 0 to 400. All right. Okay. All right, so we've created a simple gauge. Let's go ahead, while we're at it, let's go ahead and do a bar graph as well. And let's actually move the time over to another screen. So I'm going to go ahead and let's use a jump object because I want to show you how you can change screens. That makes it relatively easy. Okay, so let's say we're going to go ahead and go to screen number 2 with this screen jump. Okay, and let's label that instead of something other than jump. Let's give it a name like, I don't know, under the legend. Let's just say time. Okay, and when we go to create screen number 2, let's give it a different background. We don't have to, of course, but we're just doing things to have something here, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that time object that I had on the other page. Okay, so we've got that. And we better have some way of getting back to the home page, so let's add another jump button here. And on this one, we want to go to screen 1, which is correct. And under the legend, let's get rid of that altogether. And under attribute, let's go ahead and change that to the home icon. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now going back to screen number 1, let's get rid of the time. All right. And again, it's nothing special, but it's a quick and easy web page. Let's just go ahead and show a data object while we're here, because that's a very common one. All right, numeric data. And let's go ahead and show tank pressure as numeric data as well. Okay, so let's pick tank pressure from the list. Tank pressure. Okay, 5 digits is fine. Under engineering units, let's make that PSI, which it is. Let's make our font pretty good size. Let's change the legend to tank PSI. And this is not an editable data field here. Okay. We can make that legend bigger. Let's go under legend and make the legend, let's say, real big. What the heck? After creating our screens, the next thing we have to do is create our user credentials from the user security configuration. We'll need to add a user here. I'm just going to type this in as Chuck and the same credentials I used before. Again, I'll give myself an access level of 3. I could give it anything from 0 to 7. I'm the designer after all. I'll give it a 3 again. Okay, so I've set up that. WebMI supports what we're after here. 5-minute timeout is fine. Next, we're going to go to the Screens pull-down menu. There we go. And we'll select Web Options. We'll change the web page title to the name of our company. We're going to go ahead and leave the timeout intervals and session timeout alone. Check out the advanced options. And almost always, we want to leave these at their defaults. Okay, and okay. And now I go to the WebMI pull down. And now we're ready to publish to removable media. If we weren't sure about our license status, we could always check that first. So let's just go ahead and publish to removable media. This is where we choose where we're going to store the local WebMI files. I'll choose the desktop. It shouldn't take long at all to create these web pages. Sure enough, we're done. The web files have been exported successfully to removable media. Fantastic. So they should be sitting there on my desktop. All right, so let's go ahead and close the graphics window and minimize Cscape. There's our WebMI files, our WebMI folder right there. Let's go ahead and right-click on that and send it to the E drive. In my case, the E drive is where my micro SD card got mapped into my computer. Okay, let's just verify the WebMI folder got copied to the micro SD card. Again, on my computer, it's the E drive. And there's the WebMI folder, right where we expected it. Okay, I've moved my memory card over. So it's now back in the OCS. Let's fire up our web browser. All right, let's go ahead and navigate to the OCS's IP address. There's our login. See if I can remember it again. Let's sign in. Okay, here we go. Now, by spending a little more time, we could create something more aesthetically pleasing, but here's what we created. All right, I just went ahead, as you could hear the beep on the OCS, I went ahead and started it up. Now let's go ahead and hit the purge button and watch it go down. All right, if I want to switch screens, I can press the jump button here. Takes me to this next page with the time being displayed. And pressing this other jump button will take us back home. And there we go. So that's the process of creating web pages that are not just identical copies of what's running on the OCS.